Hello, everyone. If you don't know who I am already, my name is Peachy. I am going to be talking about a lot today, so please bear with me. And if you see me looking off to the side or anything weird, I did write everything I wanted to say on my phone today, so I don't lose my train of thought or let my emotions speak for me. I know I'm in a better place than I was when I tried to talk about all this in October, but I know talking about it in general is going to be a lot for me still anyways. As you can see, I'm in a different place, different me, different everything since the last time you saw me, or if you've seen any of the content I've been posting recently. I know I've been kind of offline for the past like 4.5 months, but I have been posting a little bit because I lost socials like my Instagram and Snapchat and things like that to post on those to gain some traction back after losing my accounts. But other than that, I've stayed off pretty much everything. Today I'm going to be talking about what's been going on this past year and a half, as well as the past 4 months that I've been gone, but this whole thing goes back a year and a half ago. Personal information, names, locations, any kind of private information is going to be kept confidential because I want to handle this a better way than I did before. I want to handle this in a way that a better version of me would. I, like I said, did talk about this in October, but I privated those videos immediately after because the only reason I posted them was because my mom was pressuring me to, out of good faith, she wanted to get the situation over with, you know? But I wanted to wait until I was in a better place, and I really didn't like how I handled that video before, so that's why I privated it. It wasn't because I was scared or afraid of these people still or this person that I'm going to be talking about still. It was solely because I wanted to align with the best version of myself, and the best version of myself would not post a video like I did before. The best version of myself would be doing what I'm doing now, sitting here and talking to you today. This video is going to have a really big trigger warning on many different topics. If you don't want to hear anything about physical violence, stalking situations, miscarriages, any issues like that that might make you uncomfortable, please don't feel obligated to watch this video. I know it'll be a lot for me emotionally to be doing this today, so I would not be mad at anyone that did not want to watch this video because of that. Before I get into the actual video, I do want to talk about a few more things that will be brought up later on in the video, but I wanted to add some clarification to these specific things before I actually start. To say I've had a hard life is putting it very lightly. I've gone through a lot of trauma and just so much stuff. I don't really want to get into all of that because I do not want to be seen as a victim or pity gaining type person. I don't want to be seen as anything like that by spilling out my guts to the internet, but I do want to talk about some things because they are going to be talked about in the video. In 2022, I had a miscarriage. That was the most difficult thing I had ever had to go through, and I was pretty much going through it alone as well because the person I was dating at the time was not taking care of me whatsoever through this big trauma. Around March of 2023, I think, we officially broke up, and I had moved out a few months after. I was couch surfing with some friends and then living with my grandma and then actually becoming homeless for a few months, sleeping in a car. I had lost many valuable items and memories because my ex that I had the miscarriage with had pre-packed all of my stuff, so I lost out on a lot of things given to me by friends and family and just sentimental items as well as expensive items. 2023 was really the hardest year for me. I mean, this past year and 2024 were also hard, but 2023 was a lot because of healing from the miscarriage and everything else that was going on, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. During this time, I had the worst self esteem, the lowest self esteem, the worst self worth. I didn't understand the importance of boundaries like I do now and how they can protect me from bad people or bad choices. Hitting rock bottom can really change a person, and I've had quite a few rock bottoms, and even though it's taken me a little bit more than the neurotypical person or average person to grow and change as a person, I may have made mistakes along the way, but I am very proud of the person that I am today because of the changes that I had done. After those mistakes, I had grown to be a much better person, and I do still sincerely apologize for all of my mistakes, past, present, future, anything like that. Even though there's a lot of other people at fault in many situations that I had gone through, I want to apologize solely for just my mistakes because I know I can't undo my mistakes. I am only a human being. Mistakes are a part of life. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. Although some mistakes shouldn't have been made, I can't take them back as much as I want to, but I have changed so much. And so many people around me tell me that they can see that I've changed. And even my parents can see that I've changed. And I just know I am a lot prouder of the person I am right now than the person I was a few years ago. I do still sincerely apologize for my mistakes. I am not proud of them, but I am proud that I survived them. I understand if people don't want to forgive me immediately or take time to forgive me for my mistakes. I understand there will be mistakes talked about in this video that I made too. And it did take me some time to forgive myself, so I understand if people can't forgive me either. The reason I'm making this video is not only to address everything and properly move on with my life, but also I genuinely believe that I don't deserve what happened to me. I don't believe that my son, my dead, unborn child, doesn't deserve what happened to him, and my family and other people involved in this situation that got harassed and so many other things don't deserve what happened to them either. So want to be the voice for the people that don't have one. I want to be the voice for the people that struggle so hard to just change and be better. The people that need multiple chances rather than just a second chance. I've always believed in more than a second chance. I'm the voice for all those people and proof that you can change and be better. That's out of the way, we can get into this video. Like I said, privacy and other things like that will be used, as well as many trigger warnings for this video. So if you don't want to hear the rest, I would click off now. So to properly continue this video with the privacy I am giving, person A is the main abuser in this situation. Person B is the owner of the home that the situation took place in, the home that I was living in for the past year and a half. Person C is another roommate who moved in a little after I did. And person D is another roommate that moved in a little before I moved out this year, who has also been struggling and dealing with all three of these people, their harassment, their torture, all of that. Continuing forward, person A and I had a little bit of history before all of this happened that did not end well. Like I'd mentioned before, I was in a very vulnerable state when meeting this person previously in 2023. I had noticed reoccurring patterns that this person had quite the toxic and narcissistic personality type, but I was told by others that knew this person very well that it was just their personality. They're not a mean person, they're not toxic, that's just the type of person that they are. That was probably the biggest red flag I ever missed. Because I don't think anyone's personality is just straight toxic. That's not healthy, that's not right. And to be proud of that too is not okay either. This person was very proud of their toxicity. The friendship had ended, and we took some time not speaking to each other. During this time, I had found out through other sources that person A had been mocking the fact that I was homeless, mocking the fact that I was making content in a bathroom while being homeless, as well as mocking my weight, which makes no sense because when I met this person, we were both oversized people, so I don't really understand how calling me fat or anything is an insult when this person was also big. Somehow, even after finding out this knowledge in February of 2024, we had made enough amends for us to be friends again and also for me to be invited to go move in with them as well as person A asking me to be their girlfriend. I had said yes to moving in because at the time I was sleeping on someone's couch and I really wanted any other alternative than sleeping on someone's couch. I didn't expect everything that was going to happen. I genuinely, I mean, I understand it's a very gracious offer, and I was very grateful for this offer, and I did everything in my ability to make up for how grateful of an offer this was. I bought food. I paid for both of us to get our nails done. And also this person, when I got our nails done, was causing a scene in the nail salon because they couldn't do the type of nail art that they wanted, and also it kept not looking right, so they just pouted in the corner complaining and so many other things when I was solely paying for both of us. I don't think it was really fair or right to complain the entire time and be rude to the staff as well because your nails aren't coming out the way you want when it's a gift that someone is getting you. And it was just supposed to be a nice time. Also, helping clean and take care of every pet that was there. I did everything without hesitation, everything I could do without hesitation. I even bought this person an Oculus Rift. And that was before, when we were still friends in 2023, before everything else happened. That was just the type of person I am. I liked to, money wasn't really anything to me when it came to my loved ones. When it came to my loved ones, I would spoil rotten because I wanted to be spoiled rotten growing up, and I know how happy being spoiled can make someone feel. I know how happy getting new things is, you know. Every child loves Christmas, opening the presents. I moved in February of 2022. I did still see a lot of the behavior and toxic traits that this person had exhibited before, but I was just too scared to say anything about it and too naive to actually believe that this person had good intentions for me when they did not. The first incident was in 2024 of February. It was Valentine's Day. We had made plans to get ready and take cute pictures for my Discord server. I had taken a picture prior to finishing getting ready to send to someone else because at the time I was still polyamorous. And if you don't know what that is, it means you date multiple people at the same time. And me and person A were both poly at the time, so we both had our own separate significant others while being with each other. I thought nothing of it when I was doing it. I didn't see any harm in just sending one picture to one person before we were actually done with everything, just because I wanted to be cute and silly. Person A did not think the same. They took the situation and blew it completely out of proportion. They tried to take my phone out of my hands physically and yelling at me angrily, and when that didn't work, they told me to leave the bedroom. And my mind, being disabled, I am mentally disabled, I wasn't clear on the context of what this person had told me because their bedroom was a conjoint room situation, so it was bedroom, a door, another bedroom, door to outside of the bedroom, if that makes sense. And we were in bedroom one. So when they said to leave the bedroom, I went to the other room where my setup and my chair and desk were, so I sat down. They didn't like this. They said to leave the entire room. But because they were yelling and everything and being really scary, my trauma response kicked in and I immediately sat on the floor instead of leaving and decided to stay silent and breathe and try to control myself before doing anything else because I was just too scared to do anything else. Saw this, they got even angrier. They started to physically grab my arm and try dragging me out of the room. They tried grabbing all of my belongings that they could, my laptop, my headphones, anything that was expensive or important they could grab at the moment, holding them and waiting outside the door for me to leave the bedroom, and said that if I did not leave the bedroom, they would throw all these things down the stairs. The situation had settled after person A had called their friend to mediate between us, and that cleared things up for a short time. Before I ended up moving into my own bedroom in March of 2024, the bedroom that I had taken over was actually turned into a trash room, and Person A had told me, I believe that they started this as a thing where they would just throw all their trash into that spare bedroom that was next door. That would eventually be my bedroom. And I do have pictures and videos of literally everything I'm talking about today, at least as much as I can have available on me, so I will be showing those as I go through the rest of this video. Here's the picture of the bedroom that I'm talking about. This is like when I was almost done cleaning it. Like I had done a lot of work in it already. It was way worse than what I'm actually showing. Continuing, before I moved into my own room in March of 2024, Person A had brought home a box of kittens. There was 3 in there. It was originally 4. One had been given away before coming to the house, so there was 3 in there. We already had 10 cats at this point and 2 dogs. So now we have 13 cats and 2 dogs. And they were already a lot to take care of alone. So Person A was just constantly bringing home any strays that they could and making living there an absolute hell because of how many animals there were to take care of, how messy it was all the time, how smelly it was all the time. We tried to make it work. We both picked out ones for ourselves. We both picked a girl cat, and then the single boy cat that was left, who would eventually be Sheldon, was ours to share. A little later in that week, Person A wakes me up and tells me that my cat died somehow. We have our proper goodbyes, and I say out loud, well, I always had boy cats, so I guess it's fate that me and Sheldon were brought together. So, in that sense, I kind of took ownership of Sheldon. I fully took ownership of him by outwardly stating to Person A, he's my cat, I'm taking him. Since mine died, I'm taking him. It was meant to be. I always had boy cats growing up, so it's meant to be. I said a bunch of stuff like that to Person A. And not one disagreeing tone, not one anything negative about that from Person A, about Sheldon being mine. Seeing as Person A already had 2 cats in that house that were theirs, while the rest were shared between the other roommate, and now this girl cat, so 3 cats that are theirs. Not long later in that same month, I awake to Person A again telling me that another cat is dead. Their girl cat is dead. We say our goodbyes, and I was told at the time that it was because malnutrition or kitten paralysis. I was asleep during both of these incidences. Person A was the only one awake during these incidences, so I can't really say for sure what happened to those cats. All I know is that I was asleep while Person A was alone with both of those cats, and both of those cats died. I said earlier, when mine died, I immediately took full ownership of Sheldon, stated out loud many times to Person A, this cat is mine, to their face, everywhere. I called this cat mine, and not one disagreeing tone or action or word was said from Person A, so I immediately rightfully assumed that they were okay with this. After moving into my new room, we split amicably. I decided it would be best to keep some distance after the split because seeing as I was homeless for so long, this is my first bedroom in literally like a year maybe, and I wanted some time for myself, time to readjust because I had just moved states away from my family and everything I ever knew. This is my first room in God knows how long. I have a cat now. I have a lot of responsibilities and new things to do and shit, so I wanted to make sure that I had some time for myself after the breakup to fix myself and then try being friends again afterwards. Sometime through all of this, though, Person A started taking my actions as something more negative than it was intended to be, just because I didn't speak to Person A, they thought that I hated them, when if clear communication was used, they would know that that was not the case. I just wanted to be alone for a bit. Second incident, I had noticed I was kicked out of a server that Person A modded in. When telling the server owner's boyfriend, that this was done out of spite, I had told them everything that I'd been through the past month and a half of staying there so far to show them, like, hey, this was definitely done out of spite. Like, this was really unfair. This is not right. They tried bringing me back into the server to then get kicked again, and they just said, well, okay, we can't bring you back because they will just kick you every time, so I guess that's it. And never got resolved. They rather let someone that kicks people out of spite stay in their server and say that's acceptable staff behavior. Person A got wind of what I was saying to the server owner's boyfriend because they had to fact check it, I guess, by talking to Person A, and that led to more trouble for me. As I was staying out of the house for a little bit with my new partner, that would eventually be the new roommate, Person C, in this situation, when I came back, I saw that Sheldon was missing, and Person B, the owner, had told me that Person A had gone into my room and taken him while I was gone. I immediately open Person A's door and see that Sheldon is on the floor in the corner. I walk straight over to him just to pick him up and leave, and Person A immediately rushes out of their bed and pins me to the ground, trying to grab the cat out of my hands. After that, some yelling occurred. There was another person in the room that was Person A's friend that was over at the time. And like I said, a lot of yelling occurred, and Person A had said that they were going to be giving away Sheldon to a friend. And I found out a little later that that was a lie, told to hurt my feelings. That Person A was never intending to get rid of Sheldon, but they were literally on the phone with said friend that they were going to give Sheldon to, and talking about plans to get rid of him and everything. I had come to the conclusion in my mind that if I had left that bedroom, I would never see my cat again. And I had lost a lot before moving there. I had lost my kid. I had lost my belongings. I had lost my home. I had lost other cats. I had lost a lot. And I was done losing things. I was done having losses. So I decided, as crazy as it sounds, I stayed in that room silent, in the corner, doing nothing. I was texting Person B on the side to try to help me with the situation, but they decided to stay out of it, even though Person A literally went into my room while I was not home, stole something of mine, and left. The owner of the home could not do anything about that. I stayed in that room silent for relatively an hour or so. The friend that was there was mediating between us. Person A was doing most of the talking about how I was in the wrong for everything and that they this and that, just a lot of narcissistic talk. A little bit later, Person A and their friend had plans to go out to eat. And Person A, and I quote, told me because I was on such good behavior that I could take the cat back for a little bit until they came home and spend my last moments with him. As soon as I got me and Sheldon into my bedroom and heard that they left, I immediately locked my door and I sat on my bed. And I just waited because I didn't know what was going to happen when they came back and saw that my door was locked, and I had no intention of giving my cat back, but I figured it'd be better to be safe than sorry by locking my door. Person A and said friend return, immediately trying to open and knock on my door, seeing that it is locked. They start yelling for me to open the door. They start banging on the door. I hear someone tell another person to get a butter knife or something because with certain doors you can open them with a butter knife. I do have everything that occurred on video. I thought it would be best to record while I was waiting for them to come back because I didn't want any misinformation or any lies to be told about what happened, and that is exactly what happened. If I didn't have this video, Person A would have done exactly what they did afterwards. They were telling Person B, the owner, that I was hitting first, or that they were just trying to protect Sheldon because he was here in my chest while I was holding him because he was still so small. But if you really wanted to protect the cat, why would you hit me when you know that the cat is in my arms, potentially risking the cat's safety along with mine? And of course, me having the video, person B, the owner, didn't believe that I was the one to throw the first hit because you can see me literally sitting down, waiting, and then running to the corner, not doing anything, and then being thrown and beat. I have edited the video as much as possible for privacy reasons, as well as other evidence I plan to show in this video. I edited names and everything for privacy reasons, so I'm sorry if it's a little obstructed, but I wanted to be as safe as possible. I will now be showing the video. Again, a major trigger warning for anyone that doesn't like physical violence or anything like that. I would stop watching here.
My fucking cat, bro. BJ, I will literally break the door down, I swear to God.
It's not your house. You can't break the door down.
Give me my cat. Alright.
Stop banging on the door, please. It's not your house. You can't do that.
Remember the compromise that Abby agreed to? And some people clients?
No, I'm gonna use it to open the door.
Please don't try to break the door down or break the lock. It's not your house. Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Don't touch me! Don't touch me!
Give me
Don't
my
touch
cat!
me!
Give me my cat! Give me my
Let
cat!
go of me! Let go of me! Ow!
Give me my cat!
Ow!
Hey, stop! Stop! Stop!
Get me!
Stop!
Get me my cat!
Stop!
Give me my cat!
Get
Give me my cat!
Stop! Stop!
Get off of me!
Abby, please fucking stop! Stop, you idiot!
Give me my fucking...
Abby! Hey, I will stop hanging out with you. You have to stop right now.
Give me my cat!
Abby, I will not hang out with you for this. I will not fucking hang out with you anymore if you do this shit, okay? Abby, why the fuck would you do that?
Let me go!
Abby, why the fuck?
I'm trying to get the cat!
Just let me go.
As you can see, the video does cut to black at some point, but you can still hear everything that happened afterwards. I was getting repeatedly beaten in my skull. There were a line of bumps all across the side of my head. I have pictures as well of what my face looked like after all this. I had cuts and scrapes everywhere. My pillow was covered in blood, but it was not from my face. This person had beat me so physically hard that their knuckles were bleeding. Scarring or like marks on my neck, as well as my mouth was stretched like this, to the point that I could not eat properly for like a week after. I was struggling a lot to eat properly because it was really hard to open my mouth and swallow. I had managed to do what they wanted and grabbed the cat from my hands and left the bedroom. I immediately ran to the owner's bedroom across the hall to tell them what happened, and they checked my face, saw the video, all the proof that I had, and called the cops. Person A was also calling the cops at the same time during this to try to say that I was the instigator of all of this, when, again, I had a video. Person B and C were terrified of this person and what could happen next if they did not call the cops, so again, we called the cops. Person A was escorted out after some statements were given. I had got checked for a concussion, which I did not have, thankfully. Because, like I said, I do already have brain damage, so any more damage to my brain could potentially kill me. The cops escorted Person A out of the house for at least 5 days to a week before returning. During said time, I had discovered many Snap stories dedicated to praising, beating me, and more. I will show them here now. Literally saying that they didn't have a scratch on them, like, it's a good thing. Because I don't believe in violence. I'm a pacifist. I don't like to hurt other people or animals or things without self-defense reasons. That's like the only time it's good is self-defense. And in this case, even when it was of self-defense, I still didn't lift a finger. I was, at the first time, protecting my son, my cat, and then the second time, protecting my vitals, which is my face. As of April of 2024, Person A was evicted and moved out, and Person C had moved in shortly after. The time that Person A moved out, their bedroom was a complete wreck, worse than what the trash room looked like. They literally left so much stuff everywhere, broke things, just trash and clothes everywhere. And as well as personalized notes for all three of us that were living there at the time. And I will be showing my note now. You are one of the most awful, disgusting, delusional people I've ever met in my life. You lie, you manipulate, and then you play dumb. You didn't deserve Zuko, which was a past cat that I had with the partner that I had the miscarriage with. I could not take him because I was in no state of taking an animal because I was homeless at the time, so he was left with them. You damn sure didn't deserve Lynx, which is my literal dead kid. My dead kid in this note is just absolutely disrespectful to the dead and to a dead child. And you don't deserve Sheldon. I literally have so many documentation and doctor reports and just all sorts of information proving that I am literally mentally disabled. I don't understand why this person thinks that I am faking my disability. I don't see why anyone would fake a disability, especially to the extent that my life has been. In no way, why would I fake a disability? And then I hope the black eye was worth it because I did have a black eye. A little after, things are starting to settle. Me and the other roommates, Person B and Person C, we spent some time all together hanging out and being close. We had a no strings attached type of fun that adults tend to do in this generation. And I liked it because it was nice to not have to go on the dating apps. Me and Person C did date for a little bit, but Person C ended things with me because they still had unresolved feelings for Person B, the owner. They did eventually start dating later on. I was okay with this breakup, but for some reason Person C tended to bring it up in future arguments as if it wasn't their choice to end things, acting like I was the issue or I was the problem. Again, they decided to end things because they had unresolved feelings. I started noticing things over time that made me not want to be as close to them anymore. Like how money would go to the most unnecessary things, like plushies for a living room that no one uses. The entire year and a half I was there, no one used it until the end of the year that I was there. Before I moved out, people started using the living room more. But the entire time that I was there, I only saw them in the living room. Again, a year and a half or more, almost 2 years. I only saw them in that living room 3 occasions. One because a family member was over, and then 2 others for other occasions. So why did we need to spend so much unnecessary money to decorate a couch or a living room that no one uses? As well as many, 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 many dishes. Buying so many dishes when we couldn't even keep up with the dishes we had when it came to cleaning them. And they both would order out food anyway. Lots of DoorDash. So why did we need all those dishes? And it got so bad to the point that my rent was raised. Just a few months of living there, I was paying $350 to then pay $500. And I was told that was going to be temporary, but so from February to May of 2024, I was paying $350. From then on to April of 2025, I was paying the $500. That doesn't seem like temporary to me. There was also many instances where the power went out or the water turned off. But yeah, plushies for the couch were more important to these people than paying bills. So witnessed them get a air purifier for the living room, again, that no one uses, as well as one of those vacuum robots and a robotic litter box, which I get are very helpful, but if you're in a financial struggle like this and your power and water are getting turned off, I think some of these things could be waiting until you're in a better situation. As well as adding 2 more cats and another dog to this house of many. At the time, it was around 10 cats. I couldn't even keep track, but around 10 cats and 3 dogs now to take care of. Displayed much agreement to adding more pets, but at the end of the day, I had no choice or say in it because trying to convince them otherwise just led to arguments, so I distanced myself from taking care of the extra dog, since all 3 of them usually would stay inside of the owner's bedroom. They would not get any sunlight, maybe once a day if they were lucky, but rarely any sunlight or outside time. They had dog pads or fake grass that the animals would use the bathroom on inside of that one bedroom. All 3 animals and 1 to 2 people trapped in there with all that. And I know person B did not clean very much. So those dogs were trapped with their own shit and piss, majority of the time. I had even witnessed it many times because, like I said, I was close to them at one point, so I did spend time in their room a lot. Specifically, one I'll be talking about later is person A saying online that I am an animal abuser. I think what I just described is actual animal abuse that I was in no part of contributing to. I wanted to stop it, but I had literally no control in the situation. There were a lot of complaints from people outside that visited us, like friends or family, saying that their eyes would water, the smell was bad, it was impossible for them to stay in there for too long without feeling disgusting. It was impossible to keep up with any cleaning as well. There were days that cats didn't get any food because they did not buy any. They couldn't afford it because they would get the really big bags. And there were days the cats didn't have any food, and I had to provide their food. Even though I only had enough income for just my cat, I had to stretch myself thin to take care of the rest of the animals in that house. Back to the dogs. Both people worked ridiculous hours, almost 12-hour shifts daily, and the days that they didn't work, they slept in. So those dogs, all 3, were trapped in that bedroom or trapped in kennels for 12-hour days. Personally, in my opinion, you should not have a pet if you do not have the time or proper responsibility to take care of it. They both did not have the responsibility or care to take care of any of these pets because they were out of the house a majority of the time or sleeping in majority of the time. They didn't even take them out. Another incident happened when person C had brought back a STD because, again, we all had the no strings attached fun. So we all got tested. Miraculously, I came out negative, and they both eventually finished their medications. So person B had convinced me it was safe to fool around again. But person C handled the situation in a very terrible way, saying that it wasn't a big deal, which I understand. Something like chlamydia or gonorrhea, I think, are like the more curable kinds of STDs versus like HIV or AIDS and stuff. So I understand in that sense that it's not a big deal because it's curable. But as someone that had literally no knowledge of STDs and their seriousness and anything else health wise, it was not okay to tell me that it was not a big deal like that. I was also told by my now ex-boyfriend of like how serious they should have taken it and how serious it should have been told to me. By August of 2024, I had met my now ex-boyfriend and things took a turn. I didn't expect the first time that we had met that he would stay for 3 months. We just didn't want to leave each other's side, and it was a long distance thing. He didn't have a car, so he was doing rentals, so we couldn't like see each other anytime we wanted to. He would come over regularly from August of 2024 to July of 2025, staying around 2 months at a time, then staying apart around 2 to 3 months at a time, and just back and forth with that. The time that he had stayed over, we stayed in my room mostly. We did go out, but we didn't hang out outside of my room really much. We mostly tried to stay out of everyone's way. We took care of ourselves when it came to food and other ways of life, like contributing to the household. We bought toilet paper and dish soap, like just everything, household, everything. We were doing it all, as well as paying for rides when we needed it, doing everyone's chores, doing everyone's laundry. I understand he wasn't paying for actual rent for the times that he stayed there, but I would agree that he put in his work to at least earn to visit, you know? And I get that he stayed for really long, but I was paying double my rent, so I didn't really see any issue with it. At some point, I did make a deal with the owner to get less rent for cleaning up the whole house. So for about 3 or 4 months, it was me and my ex just cleaning that entire house top to bottom so that we could get a little extra money on the side. I just want to clarify, I never, at least to my knowledge, never ever took full credit for all of the cleaning that we both did. I understand there were times that he definitely cleaned way more than I did because of my struggles mentally and physically and things like that. But I remember very clearly always defending him to the roommates, always saying that he puts in the work, he puts in his time to earn a spot here, and that he's doing more than either of them had been doing in the past year. I was always defending him to the roommates. They very much did not like each other. My ex did not like the past that I had with the roommates. My roommates did not like that he was, at least from their point of view, it looked like he was sheltering me and keeping me away from them, when that wasn't the case at all. I just wanted to hang out with my boyfriend, and I'm a homebody that likes to be in my bedroom. As well as the fact that both of these people worked ridiculous shifts and either worked or slept in. So when I did try to make plans to hang out with them, either all four of us or just the three of us, it didn't work out. Nothing came to fruition. So I don't understand how it was my fault or responsibility that we couldn't hang out as much anymore because they had their own lives and I had my own life. We still were friends, coexisting. I didn't see any problems. In the beginning of more verbal issues with the roommates and distance happening, I was actually the middleman of this situation. I was talking in behalf of my ex because he didn't want to directly talk to them about his issues with them, so I had to talk about them as either my own or saying he feels like yada yada. And during this time, I would also proofread my text to my ex so that way I can make sure I was being clear and concise and not rude or mean or sounding any negative or anything like that, just solely to the point. I said at some point I was kind of feeling weird about how my ex was treating these people because they were my friends at one point, and then when I started defending him more, sending boundaries for myself, I started seeing that these people were actually bad people and not good friends for me, because no friends would ever react in this way that these people did when it came to boundaries. I feel like boundaries are a very given thing for anyone and should not come with any issues as well when being presented to them. Person C started taking a lot more offense to my boundaries than person B did. Person B was a very passive person and didn't really involve themselves much into arguments or drama or anything like that. They kind of just stayed on the side and observed, if you will. At this point, I do believe that person B and C were now dating. Started a bathroom boundary. Now, the bathroom seems like the number one place anyone should expect some privacy, if that is not common sense to anyone. And yet I had issues with the roommates about this. I had told them that one of my new boundaries was, please do not come into the bathroom when I am in there, when my ex was in there, or when both of us were in there. We don't want that. And I started to lock the door to make sure that there were no accidents happening. I really wanted to make sure I stuck to these boundaries because not only was I in my first monogamous relationship after so long, but I wanted to respect not only his boundaries but mine as well, because obviously he didn't like them, so he wanted to distance himself, and I wanted to have privacy and not, and also just stand up for my boundaries for once instead of letting people walk all over me. They did agree to these boundaries, but I did notice that the doorknob was continuously being moved, even when it was locked, like someone was trying to open the door constantly whenever I was in there or he was in there. And I had told in the house chat about this situation. I had talked about it and calmly, nicely asked if it could stop. Person C proceeded to tell me that they were used to it because of their job, both of them having the same job. They both would turn the doorknobs at their jobs' bathrooms, and it was normal for them at their job. And so they did it here in the house. And they also both said that they don't like the door being knocked on for themselves and thought that they were being less weird and creepy by turning on the door instead of knocking on it. So I don't see why they had to assume that I would be okay with the door being turned just because they were okay with it and also okay with doing it at their job. Like I said, I did have my ex proofread any texts so that way it would come out as clean, nice, calm as possible. But person C always tended to say that I sounded passive aggressive, which I did not intend to. At some point, maybe I did because I was getting really pissed off at my boundaries being broken repeatedly, time and time again, and pissed off at how they were handling my boundaries to the point that person B, the homeowner, actually referred to my boundaries as quirky preferences. In no way, shape, or form is a boundary a quirky preference. I'm just saying. Screenshots of a lot of these text chats and everything. Um, Again, I do apologize if I did sound passive aggressive, but I was being nice at a certain point, and then my niceness wasn't being heard, so I did step it up a little bit. But these are all the texts. I really tried to make things work with everyone, especially person C, because it was person C that had a lot of the issues. Person B did have issues too by staying very passive to situations and also siding with person C just because they were dating. But it was mainly person C that I had a lot of issues with or had a lot of issues with me. And whenever person C would verbally attack on text messages and stuff, I would tell them, I understand, it's your mental health, it's okay, you're getting help for it. It is not you who is being this difficult, it is your emotions and mental health making you difficult. So I forgive you. Like, I was being as sincere as possible with trying to explain, like, because, like, I know it makes me feel better that I have a reason for my behavior. It's my mental illness, it's my mental health. I understand that my mental health can make me do or say things that I don't mean or make mistakes and things like that. It's not necessarily an excuse for bad behavior, but it is a reason for it. So I understand that they are not a bad person, it is just their mental health that is bad. And for some reason, they were saying that I was attacking instead of supporting, that what I was saying by understanding it's okay that your emotions take over and you don't mean to be this difficult, it's just your mental health. They were seeing as me, they saw me blaming their mental health as a bad thing, which maybe it could be to some people, but for me, I thought it was comforting to know that I'm not a bad person. It's just my mental health making me do bad things, but I know I can change, you know? So I was saying the same to this person, and they just didn't see it that way. The arguing with person C got as bad as to the point that person C had threatened at multiple points to kick me out, which they didn't own the home. They were only dating the homeowner. But even the homeowner was agreeing that all they had to do was change the lease because it was a verbal lease and I would be out of there. So no matter what, person B was going to side with person C. As well as threatening to go back to their own house, person C was threatening to go back to their parents' house multiple times whenever they were upset or feeling ganged up on and things like that. When, or always complaining that moving away was really hard and they didn't necessarily have to move out. It seemed to me, because I did meet their parents and stay at their parents' house and stuff, that they were pretty content living with their parents still. So they didn't have to move. And if they wanted to move it back, they could have if they wanted to. But threatening it multiple times whenever they were upset was a lot to deal with. They, like I said, both hated my ex, constantly saying that he was manipulating me because I wasn't spending as much time with them. When I did try to spend time with them, it was just their busy schedules and also me being a homebody liking to stay in my room. I have invited them to come to my room many times, didn't work out. So I don't really see how I have to have all that blame when I literally tried actively to hang out with them and make plans with them and nothing really happened. A lot of things that were issues between me and the roommates could have been solved if they just talked to me instead of arguing with me because I was trying to talk and they just argued. During my year and a half spent there, the roommates had friends, family, flings come over. Lots of people came over, even moved in. One person tried to move in and moved out very quickly. I had only had 4 or 5 guys come over throughout that entire time. And they both combined had a lot more people over at that house than I did. So, again, responding to rumors and things being spread about me, I didn't invite strange men over. I invited a few dates over. And then, of course, the ex that I did continue to date stayed for a couple months at a time and apart for a couple months at a time. I understand that was a lot, but I was paying double the rent and we took care of all of our needs as well as all their needs. So I felt it was pretty fair. I also want to point out before person C actually did move in, they were already coming over regularly and sleeping over regularly, just like me and my ex did when we first met, staying over for 3 months when we first met. This person also stayed over for a few months when they first started hanging out more and more. So they were literally doing the same thing I was doing, and yet I was the one getting in fault for it. And I know for a fact my ex contributed a lot more than person C did when they first moved in. Because person C didn't even have a job and wasn't paying rent for a little bit. As well as person A, if I didn't mention already, not paying rent for an entire year and a half before I moved in. And that's why we were struggling so much, because there was a lot of backup rent that I had to make up for. Another incident, like I said, the power and water had turned off on multiple occasions while I was there. The electric had finally turned back on, but a little bit later in that week, my room went dark. The power went out in my room. I waited around 20 minutes or so before walking out to see what the situation was. At the time, it was during the really, really bad heat wave this summer. And it was already getting really hot in my room. So I was freaking out because I thought we had just paid the power. Why is it back off again? I walked out and waited for person C to come out of the bathroom to talk because I didn't know who was in there. I just wanted to talk to anyone that would know what was going on. Person C comes out. I asked them very calmly, "Do you know what happened to the power?" They at first denied, saying that they didn't know what happened to the power. I push a little bit with more questions, and I find out that person C had lied the first time and said that they were the cause of the power out because the house had really weird wiring, so if you plug things into the wrong outlets, it would cause a power out. I then calmly proceeded to ask person C what they were going to do about it because, seeing as it was their fault, they should be the one to fix it. And person C immediately starts flipping out on me, telling me to fuck off really loudly to my face, yelling. Storms into person B's room and yelling the entire time. I can hear them through the door across the hallway that Peachy's freaking out, blah, 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 blah. I was not freaking out. I was talking as calmly as I am now. I was not freaking out. And person B explained to them how to fix the breaker, but because person C was yelling, I had witnessed my bedroom go from lights off to lights on to lights off to lights on because person C clearly did not hear the instructions and was trying to blame person B for telling the wrong instructions when you can't really hear someone if you're yelling at them. Me and my ex broke up in July of this year. And a little after the breakup, someone new moved in. person D. And at the time, I was wary about meeting new people that knew person B and C because of all the trauma that they had put me through in this past year. Not respecting my boundaries, not respecting me as a person, things like that, contributing to a very toxic and nasty household. I just didn't want to associate with anyone that knew those people. So while it may have seemed wrong at first, and I did apologize to person D later on about everything, I immediately said nope to any interaction with person D because I didn't want to risk my peace, my privacy for new people. I didn't want to risk my boundaries being broken again. Around 2 weeks after the breakup, I had met someone new on July 31st. We meet up and he spends the night into August 1st and I take him out. We have some fun. Before this, we had more arguments with the roommates and I agreed that I would start paying my regular rent again since July was really hard on me to keep that house clean by myself. After going through a breakup and everything, I thought it would be best to give it up and pay normal rent again. I take out that money, give it to them. I get an eviction notice on my door a few days later or a day later, and I see that the dates are a little weird because it says on top or in the words in the page August 6th, but then also August 3rd. So I think they were planning to get rid of me anyway and just waited until I paid rent to do so. Time as well, someone else had come back to the household. Person A. I didn't realize it was them for a little bit. I had heard a similar voice and still didn't realize it was them until a little bit later. I was getting something from my door, and because I was packing and everything, I wanted to take off the decor and everything, and person A was there sweeping up and saw me and spoke to me, and my trauma response kicked in and we had a screaming match. It didn't really make sense to me that person A would be brought back knowing that person B and C witnessed them abuse me, witnessed them stalking me relentlessly during the time that they were not in the house. I had gotten many notifications of stalking on all of my profiles or things being talked about of me by person A on social media brought to me and everything. Literally so much stalking. Multiple accounts using friends' accounts to stalk me, everything. And person A actually confirmed that they would continuously check up on me or stalk me on this screenshot here. As well as leaving all three of us, it wasn't just me that got a note, all three of us with the most disgusting, hateful notes ever. They brought that person back. Come to find out afterwards by person D that this was an orchestrated plan to make me leave or force me to leave sooner than my eviction date, which was September 3rd. I had till September 3rd to get out, and I was already packed up before then, just waiting it out patiently, willingly to leave. But they brought back person A to evict me sooner. Person A had called the cops the first night back because, like I said, I grabbed something from my door, we started yelling, and person A called the cops over that. I guess trying to get me to leave, just like they had to leave the first time that the cops were called there when I got beat by them. But obviously there was no physical assault happening. Person A tried to show the cops the messages that I was sending in my Discord server that I was fearing for my life, and if anything happened to me, to know that person A was responsible. And the police basically said that we can't do anything about her talking about you online. That's not illegal. So they left and just told us to avoid each other. The first night, I was so scared because even after the cops left, hours after the cops left and hours after we yelled at each other through the hallway, person A was still yelling about everything that was going on and yelling about me being such a terrible person and things like that to a friend on the phone. And that first night I was so terrified I called the suicide hotline, not because I was trying to, but because I was scared to be alone at that moment. To the point that they transferred me to a crisis line, and the crisis lady could literally hear how loud person A was yelling across the hall through a closed door. They could hear them through the phone speaker, that far away, that loud. Sometime between my eviction notice and August 19th, we had made amends for the past, although I was naive at the time of what amends truly meant, because you can make amends, but you need to also respect yourself, respect your peace, respect your boundaries, which I did not do after making amends. I kind of just went along with, oh, everything's back to normal when it wasn't. I had fallen asleep early one night, and I had no knowledge that all of the cats were getting flea treatments during this time that I was asleep. I wake up to person A once again breaking into my room for a different reason, which was to give Sheldon his medicine. At the time, I was horrified, of course, but I kept my cool and waited until they left, texted my mom everything that happened, and went back to bed. Afterwards, the next day, my mom called to sort out all of the issues and decided that it was best that we keep our distance for the remainder of the time that I was there, which was about 2 weeks. And after that, I avoided as much as possible, stayed in my room as much as possible. During this time, of course, I still felt unsafe to be in that household with the abuser that traumatized me. I felt safer if I had the guy I was talking to at the time to come over so I wouldn't be alone and stay with me for the remainder of the time that I was there so I wouldn't be alone and I'd feel safer. I wait for a day that he is free to come over, and I walk outside when he's here to greet him and catch up a little bit before walking back inside together. Immediately to walking inside, I was being yelled at and told that I wasn't allowed to have someone over, even though a week or two before, one of the roommates had a guy over for about 2 days, and I was literally moving super soon, so again, this was for my safety. I wanted someone over. So I didn't really see anything wrong with having a guest over. I still had paid for the months that I was there, so I still had all my rights as a tenant, unless given in written form, just like the eviction was. I didn't see anything wrong with it. We get up to my room and we still hear yelling. I tell them to call my mother because we had decided if any issues happened, person A should call my mom and not the cops because the cops is just a waste of time and money. Especially when we can just mediate between each other. I'm stressed out looking for some spare money I have in my room somewhere so that we can pay for a night at a hotel or something, just get out of there. I leave with nothing on me but the clothes I'm wearing and my backpack. Walk out of the room, the guy that I'm seeing is in front of me and I am behind him. We walk down the hallway to leave the house, passing person A and C standing there staring at us. We go down to the other part of the hallway before getting to the stairs when I start to feel myself being pushed from behind by person A. I'm immediately pushed against the wall. I close my eyes out of instinct fear because I wanted to protect the vitals, which is everywhere in the head and face, because again, I have legitimate brain damage, so any more damage to my brain, I could be dead. And person A did know this the first time they hit me, and this time hitting me. Knew about my brain damage and knew the potential dangers of it, and still chose to beat me relentlessly. I close my eyes because I'm terrified. I put my arms like this over my face because I don't want to hurt any of the vital organs. I can feel myself being brutally beat in the arm here. It still hurts, and it's been like months later, so there was actually some permanent damage there. Like pressing it kind of hurts a little bit there. I do have a picture of it if I can find it, because I wasn't the one that took this picture, because after it's gonna be talked about, but after everything happened, I lost my phone. So me and the guy I'm seeing were sharing his phone. I feel my arm being brutally beat. I feel my face being punched, my head being punched. I feel a lot of beating. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs for it to stop. It continues for some time until it just, out of nowhere, just stops. And I open my eyes and I'm trying to collect myself. My vision is all blurry because I didn't know until later on that my lens was knocked out of me. And so I was really scared that my vision was blurry because I thought I had more brain damage after that. So I sit there for a minute collecting myself while I'm being yelled at to leave. I quickly try to grab my things and I run down the stairs, and the stairs were like, you go down, there's a stop point, and then you go down the rest. At that stop point, I saw across from me, person D was on the couch the entire time and had witnessed the entire situation. Then rushed out of the door by person A and C, not too far behind me. Person B was at work at the time, which I was unaware of, and I'm saying that because while I was crying hysterically, person A was mocking me, saying I had a brilliant idea or plan, mastermind plan of bringing this guy when person B was at work, so they couldn't do anything, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know that they were at work, so what master plan do I have? I just wanted someone there so I'd feel safe. The injuries I had sustained were so bad for the first week of recovery that I needed assistance to shower and many other things. I literally was beaten so hard that I could not take a shower. I could not physically wash my body because it hurt that bad to move and touch my body. I make it out of the house and I drop to a house that is next door. I just drop on the street right in front of there. Person C brings me my phone, which the entire screen is just ripped out. Just wire and batteries, that's all I'm seeing there. Person A is, at the moment, talking to the guy I'm seeing and telling him a bunch of lies about me hitting first, which never happened. As well as me having STDs, which also never happened because the first instance, I got tested. I was negative. The second instance, I got tested on my birthday in this year, January 31st of 2025. And I was with the ex at the time. So we both got tested and we were both negative. So again, I did not have an STD the entire time I was living there. Those were just straight up lies. Person A wakes their way back to me while person C is behind me yelling at me to leave the street because apparently I'm still on their property even though I was on the street. As this is happening, an old guy just starts walking up in front of us, and I am begging him to stay with me because I feel like if there is one outside witness, I would not get beat again because these two people were still hovering over me, yelling at me, harassing me, all that. So I get this old guy to stay for a bit, and he is actually confronted by person A, and I was told afterwards that I was making threats to this old man, like, person A is like in their early 20s, and in their early 20s confronting this really old ass man saying that they were gonna beat their ass. Like, the old guy stays with us until we get back to the guy I'm seeing's car. His way, we are in the car. I'm still a wreck, but we both agree that it's best to go to the cops that have already been called by person A and tell them my side of the story. By the time we get there, they're saying their side. The cops come down to hear my side. And as I'm telling my side, person A has somehow told them that they received a scratch somewhere on their body, and compared to the visible bruising on my arm, the missing lens, the everything else I had on me, compared to a single scratch, we were both arrested that day because there was no self-defense laws in this state. And cops just really failed a lot in these situations, like really, really bad. First of all, I was told that it was law that when domestic abuse is reported, that both people get arrested if there is visual assault. Or at least one person gets arrested. No one got arrested the first time. No one got arrested the first time. And as well, in the first time, I got checked in the ambulance, and they said I was all good. I had also told them that I had a video many times, but they wouldn't let me show them the video. we didn't go to the hospital that time, but we did go this time. So again, the cops really failed in this situation, not following the law twice for domestic abuse, as well as believing this narcissistic liar who says they have somehow one scratch on them compared to the wreck that I was physically of what my body looked like after getting beat. We both got arrested that day. We take a ride to the station. I'm waiting to be checked while person A is giving their statement. I don't get to give my statement until I'm in the ambulance. And that's when I found out about everything, that the law was broken on my side twice by these freaking cops not doing their freaking jobs. While I'm in the hospital being x-rayed and everything, my poor mother, with so many illnesses and a literal heart condition, she has like 3 stents in her heart right now, is getting harassed with 33 plus messages from person A mocking that her daughter is in the hospital and to guess which one it is, and a bunch of other nasty things. I get into contact with my mom while I'm at the hospital. She was able to get through somehow, and we exchanged numbers so that way we could use the guy I'm seeing's phone as a communicator for me and my mom. We make a plan, me and my mom, we make a plan for around September 1st to get my stuff back from the household because I was forcefully removed out of there. And I still had all of my stuff there. My son's ashes, my PC, my cat, my everything was there. And we had, by law, the rights to get my stuff before September 3rd. Even though they were saying that I wasn't allowed back at the house, like all 3 of the people living there. I don't know if person D was involved in saying that I couldn't go back, but all 3 of the other ones were saying that I couldn't go back, even though legally I was allowed to at least get my stuff out of there. But we decided it would be best to stay out for my safety. So from August 19th to September 1st or 2nd, I was not in the house at all during that time. During that time, I was out camping or staying in hotels and just trying to survive until my mom could pick me up. I stayed in contact with her with his phone, so again, I didn't have any internet connection really because all of my stuff was still at that house, so person A had access to all of my stuff, and person D had told me later on that person A had broken or stolen a lot of my things, and what was stolen was used to hack me. So during this time that I was off the internet and didn't have a phone, I didn't get a phone again until October of this year, and get all my access back until October of this year. I couldn't get everything because I had to get a new number and 2-step verifications, and I was also still hacked on some emails that I can't get back to this day. Because of all that, I lost a lot of access to things. And I'm clarifying because person A was also saying that I was deleting my Discord server and it was suspicious or something. I literally saw an email from September during the time that I didn't have a phone. I saw the email once I did get a phone because I was able to get access to my main email. And I saw it on there that my Discord was set to deactivate or scheduled for deletion in a date that I had no access to anything. So again, another lie by person A saying that I was deleting my own server. I didn't have any internet access during that time. They had access to all of my things, my PC, my tablet, my everything, my second phone, my everything. So that wasn't me. Like I said, I was able to get some things back. It took time to get other things back, but I, as of now, have almost everything I can get back. As for the rest, I don't think I can get them back. Like, you can still see my Twitter and Twitch are up, but because of the 2-step verifications and email missing things, I can't get access to those. So I did make new stuff, and I did lose my Instagram and Snapchat because of hacking as well. So I made new things for everything that you can find in the link tree in my bio. And I will show some proof of the hacking here in case no one believes me. This is the best proof I have of the hacking. Pay attention to this part. You can see the subscribers, like the faces and the count and everything. this was what person A was planning to do with my account, had deleted all of my videos and things on there to try to make the channel theirs. And then when I got access back, obviously you can see the subscription, the subscriber account, and the faces that are there are literally the same because it was my account that they hacked. I had gone back to the household and discovered that all of my stuff was in ruins, in bins outside, left outside since I had left. All of my stuff trashed and broken, my laptop snapped in half, everything broken in those bins, and whatever wasn't in there was still stolen by person A and still in their possession, including my son's ashes. Person D had told me later on that day when we had got back to my parents' house. After seeing all of my stuff broken, we obviously couldn't take anything with us, really. Person D had told me, because they had contacted my mom, sharing their own experiences, how after I left, person D had experienced a change in behavior from the other roommates. Person D was very clearly scared of person A because of seeing what I had went through, and person D had brought up these issues with person C, and person C had said to be scared of them and not person A, that they were the real scary one. And basically person C had just had a mental health toll, like, taken down over the past few months. And I think person A was really instigating this behavior change because person C was not this aggressive before I left. Like, it was a real big change. And person D felt really unsafe, so they started to gather their things and quietly move out a little after I did. And like I said, person D got contact of my mom and told us everything that they had went through during the time that I was gone, as well as what had happened to my things while I was gone. Like I said, person A had destroyed or kept stolen a lot of my stuff, including my son's ashes, and person D had told me that person A was throwing my son's urn around in the air and catching it, mockingly saying, "Do you think she really had a miscarriage? Do you think there's really ashes in here?" As if anyone in their right mind would lie about a miscarriage. I even have his name tattooed on me, for fuck's sake. We need to respect the dead. And my son did not deserve to have his remains tossed in the air and mocked like that. I had to celebrate his birthday this year without his ashes. Like I said, person D had experienced a lot of their own issues. I will show screenshots of what I was sent, of voice memos that they were getting sent by all these people, and harassing texts and things like that. From the last time I talked to person D, it seems like they're doing a lot better, and I'm very happy for them. Like I said, my son did no fault. He was unborn. He didn't even have a chance to live. And the disrespect that happened to his urn is sickening. To disrespect the dead like that is sickening. And I can never take back my mistakes. But God, he was innocent. He was innocent and he didn't deserve to be thrown and stolen like that. I'm trying not to cry. I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. I am so much better than I was before, and I want to show that I am strong and that I've survived this, but that's my son. At the end of the day, that's my son. And it took me a little bit to come to the realization that I will never get my child back. I was receiving threatening messages during my time away when I got a phone back because, like I said, person A had hacked a lot of my things and could see when I was trying to gain access back and sent me threatening texts, laughing at the fact that I was trying to get access to things back, and also mocking on my social medias in comments on my TikToks and things, posting pictures of my son's ashes, saying, mocking things about how I forgot him because person A had said that they left his urn on my desk. And I was told this by someone else after I'd already gone back home, and mocking that I cared more about a bookshelf because I still saw something of mine in there when I went back to get my stuff. Everything was gone. Everything was gone and changed, so the duffel bag that I knew he was in was not there, so I didn't know where else he could be. I didn't see him anywhere, so I have no knowledge actually if person A is telling the truth that he was on the desk because I didn't see him. I just want to clarify that when person A was evicted and was gone for those 5 days to a week, person B, the owner, had told me that we were not allowed to go into their room and pre-pack their things or throw their things outside. So I did expect the same treatment for myself when I got evicted, but clearly the owner did not care and let them enter my room and destroy all my things and steal my things. Person B had said it was by law that we couldn't do any of that, but yet the law didn't matter for my side. As for Sheldon, I was told he was brought to a shelter, but I can't confirm that either. And again, back to the lies that I'm an animal abuser is just insane after everything I've talked about so far. Clearly, the animal abusers are these three people, not person D. Not person D at all. Person D is another survivor of the situation. They had no ill intent at all, ever, from what I've seen. Like I said, a lot of lies have been told about me by person A. I, for one hand, can't believe that some people actually did believe that I'm an animal abuser just because someone said I was, with no real evidence to back that up. Meanwhile, I have plethora of evidence. I saw person A flicking the animals repeatedly to the point that if you did this in front of one of the cats, they would immediately just tuck away and be scared. I saw person A also throw the cats on multiple occasions, as well as yelling at the dogs or banging on their kennels. Like I said before, there were times that none of the cats had any food, and I had to stretch myself thin to make sure that none of these cats died from malnutrition. Person A had picked up certain animals, and obviously, animals are 10 times smarter than us humans. They can feel things and see things differently than we can. Multiple cats in that house, when being picked up by person A, freaked out in ways that I had never seen them freak out. Even with strangers, they were calm. And especially with Sheldon, who hadn't seen person A in over a year since he was a baby when person A left and came back later this year. Picked up Sheldon, and Sheldon had reacted in a way I'd never seen him react. He was a very loving cat, even to strangers. He would get a little shy, but he'd never freaked out like that. And person A had continued to try to force him in a hold while he was literally paws to the face, pushing away and trying to. Person A would try to wrap around very aggressively to keep him in their arms, as well as the fact that there were around 10 cats and 3 dogs in that house, and all 10 cats really did not receive much attention or love. I tried to give as much love and attention and playtime as much as I could with all the animals there, but the cats specifically got no love and no attention. Most of the time, they were all just wandering the halls of the house and in the living room of the house, meowing and fighting at each other because not all of them got along very well. So it was a very toxic household for all those animals, getting constantly harassed by other animals that they don't like. And again, multiple occasions of all 3 of these people bringing in more and more animals that we have no we can't take care of. We cannot take care of all these fucking animals. And I tried to stress that this environment was not good. This environment was not good for any animals. My words got no say. Did not want to participate in all of this animal abuse that I was witnessing around me, of these poor animals being constantly neglected, constantly mistreated, constantly not fed, constantly not being taken outside when they need to, constantly being trapped in a room full of shit and fake grass and piss. I loved Sheldon. I got beat up for Sheldon. And yet, one person, one narcissistic, lying person says that I'm an animal abuser and everyone just agrees. That's really, really fucked up. And to clarify, because I did see some things about me trapping him in a closet, I never put him in the closet without good intent. He's a cat. He snuck in there most of the time by himself because he's a cat. He gets curious. But the other times, I put him in the closet only whenever I was mopping or using a lot of chemicals to clean in my room, because I didn't want him to get near those chemicals. I didn't want him to lick them or get his fur wet in them. So I put him in the closet for that because I didn't have a carrier at the time. And immediately, as soon as it was safe enough, I let him out. Meanwhile, all three of these people had used chemicals around these cats, mopped the floor, and let them roam around and lick the chemicals out of the fucking mop bowl. I was the only one showing any real concern about their safety. They did not care at all. Stated from October of me getting my access back around the 8th to the 24th, I was being relentlessly stalked by this person, harassed with texts and messages and comments on social medias because I was trying to regain access, and they could see what I was doing and tried to block me and kick me from regaining access to other emails. Like, as soon as I had gotten my access back, because it was logged in on another device, I was kicked out immediately as soon as I got access back. So it was just a repetition of that for weeks. And the literal speed, because I know that my PC and my tablet notifications are mostly silent, especially for emails. Email notifications are mostly silent. And the fact that person A has these items to hack me and stalk me and things like that, the speed in which I was kicked off of emails I was trying to get access back or anything like that means that person A either turned on notifications for these things so they would get a ding anytime there was activity, or they were 24/7 constantly stalking these devices that were still logged in and they still had access to, which is genuinely terrifying. This person really needs help. This person also got a lot of people to do their bidding for them, like I said, using other people's accounts to stalk me because I had blocked all of their known accounts, or using other people to message for them, like these screenshots here in my TikTok comments and things like that. Like I said, I was forcefully removed from that household on August 19th, and until October 8th, I was completely offline. I did not have any access to anything online because I didn't have any of my devices, and I couldn't log into any of my devices because I didn't have a phone. And when I did get a temporary Android phone to play around with, I still couldn't get any access back because iPhone and Apple are very strict with things. And also not having my old phone number and proof of verification for the 2 steps and things like that. So anything going on during that time, I had no part in. Person A was trying to say that I was being an animal abuser, showing the tail of one of the fluffier cats there, that it's a lot weaker. These are a bunch of pictures of said cats that I had in my room from when I first moved in to before I moved out. As you can see, that fluffy cat specifically, their tail is completely fine until I am gone, until I am out of the house, when that proof that they had was made. I was already out of the house before then. So I don't really know how the cat's tail looks any different now because this is literally the last time I saw that cat was completely fine. The last time I saw that cat was completely fine. So that really wasn't me. I don't know. It could have also just been normal stress because things were changing. That cat specifically really didn't like being in the rest of the house because of all the other cats there. They liked being in my room because it was calm and safe. And that cat also had a really strong connection to Sheldon being like a mother cat, so I wanted to keep them together. They were best friends. Sheldon would play rough sometimes, but I would stop it immediately. And like I said, the last time I saw any of the cats there, they were fine. And once I was out of the house, suddenly they were not fine. That was not me. Since everything going on, like I said, made new socials for what got hacked or couldn't get back and things like that. I made new emails, new phone number, new everything. And I immediately, as soon as making new socials or getting access to old socials, went on a hunt for every account known by person A or person B and C or any of their friends that I knew did their bidding and started blocking because I didn't want any access. I didn't want them to have any access of me. Nothing at all. Like I said, I did stay offline for a good amount of time because I wanted to properly take the time to heal and calm down from everything. I know I might have been a little excessive through talking in this video because some emotions got refreshed again, I guess, like with my son. But I really am mostly over all of this and healed from all of this. I still have a way to go, but I'm definitely in a much better place than I was before. And I wanted to make sure that I waited until I was in a better place to talk about everything, so that way I was my the best version of myself possible. As of now, when I'm making this, it's been about 4 months since I forcefully had to leave the household, and around 2 months since the last threatening message or threatening stalking sign, anything like that. Even person D hasn't really had any issues with them lately, so that's good. Seeing as it's the new year soon, I wanted to talk about everything um, because I just couldn't go back to making regular content without addressing all of this first, and also wanted to start the new year off with something better so I can end this year with all of this and go into the new year a new person. That I also wanted to talk about all of this because I wanted to be the voice of the people that could not speak out for being involved in the situation, that also got harassed and abused and things like that, as well as anyone else out there who feels like they are being threatened to be silenced by their abusers, or people that make a lot of mistakes but still try to be the best version of themselves and still try to have the best intention for others. I know that I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Even before meeting all these people, I made mistakes that I have to live with for the rest of my life, but I am a better person than I was before, and I'm not going to let those mistakes define me, and I'm not going to let bad people or people that have bad for me try to ruin my life. As of now, I have been doing the process of finding my own place. Like I said, I'm staying with my parents right now, so probably not going to be Twitch streaming for a little bit, even though I made a new account. I'm not going to be streaming for a little bit. I'm going to focus more on YouTube. That's kind of what I wanted to start off with in the beginning anyway, when I was a kid, being a YouTuber, so it's kind of like full circle, getting to get back into that more, and then when I'm in a better place, I can get back into Twitch streaming. Um, I'm very grateful for my situation right now, that I'm not completely homeless like last time, living in a car or someone's couch. I'm in a better place. I've been getting my shit together, like I said, getting my life together after everything that happened. I had some time to get things like a new phone or a new laptop and new clothes and everything, and then um getting my health insurance together so I can get new glasses soon and doctor's appointments and make sure I'm all up to date. And although I won't have my son's ashes anymore, I am happy, like I said, that a part of him is still with his dad, safe and sound, and I'll always be his mother. No one can ever take away the experience that I went through having the miscarriage No matter what lies are said, I had a miscarriage. I wouldn't lie about that. That's insane to lie about that. I got his name tattooed on me. I'm not crazy to lie like that. That's insane. I don't have him. I will always be his mother. He will always be a part of me. And I'm just gonna have to learn to live without having his physical ashes with me, but I'll get through it. But I'm really ready to start this new chapter of my life, taking everything I've learned over the past few years and putting it to use in a proper way, and finally getting my life together as the adult that I was meant to be. I'm still new to all this adult stuff too, because I was really sheltered growing up, and that sounds like a good thing, but it's actually not. I don't want to get into my shit like I said earlier in this video, but I've been through a lot, so I'm really behind compared to most adults my age. Which is not something to be ashamed of, it's just something I have to work on. And so I'm really hoping that anyone that is willing to stay after watching all of this will be a part of my adulting journey, I guess, of getting my own place for the first time. My first time living alone. Oh my god, I'm so scared. But really, really, really excited. And other adulting things like learning how to drive, adult things like learning how to cook, and all sorts of stuff, really. Just really, really trying to be the best version of me that I can be for the new year coming, and also years after that. I want to be a better person. And I think I have changed a lot since everything happened to me, but I obviously still have a little bit of a ways to go. I would hope that anyone that doesn't believe my side of things or believes the lies being told about me instead would just leave rather than leaving nasty comments, because I can assure you, I have always just wanted to help people, and that's the truth. I've always just, to the point of running myself dry, spoiling with gifts and affection and kindness, because that is just the person I've always wanted to be. That's the person I am. And I don't want people to see that and twist it into me being a bad person when I'm just trying to be good. Just because some people lie or manipulate or trick me into situations does not mean I have to stop being the kind person that I am. I am learning to be more strict with my kindness, though, and making sure that I am protecting myself in many ways when it comes to meeting new people. And don't ever feel like the bad guy for making boundaries or sticking up for yourself. I felt like a bad person for making boundaries with friends that I thought were friends, because it just felt weird, kind of like telling them what to do or something. But I realized boundaries saved my life, because I don't know what could have happened if I didn't start making boundaries and realizing that these people actually didn't have the best intent for me. If I just stayed blind, I feel like things could have been a lot worse living in that house. So don't be afraid to walk away when it's not safe. Don't be afraid to say no, and don't be afraid to make boundaries, and don't let anyone tell you you're crazy for your boundaries or tear you down. If you made it to this part in the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I will be on a little bit of a break after posting this because I want to spend the holidays with my family. Christmas and New Year's. I will be back to regular posting in January. I have a lot of plans for content and things to do. Also, I have almost 200 subscribers on here. You guys are insane. I love you guys so much. And I'm really excited for everything that's coming soon. And like I said, I'll be active on everything in January. So, link in bio for my new Instagram, new Snapchat, new Twitter, new everything. And also my old YouTube and my old TikToks I still have access to. I feel like I wouldn't be the best version of myself if I still held on to regret or anger or resentment or anything like that. So I do want to say I forgive the people that have done me wrong, I may never forget it, but I do forgive it. Not because I forgive them and their actions, but because I feel it's best to forgive for myself, because like I said, I don't want to go into the new year with any resentment or any negative feelings about anything. And even though what these people did really, really was messed up and hurt and so, so painful, not only to me but to others, I do forgive them, because I wasn't perfect either, but I could have made things a little different if I communicated more or did this and that. I don't know. But as much as I can't undo my mistakes, I can't let them consume me either. So I do forgive myself and others for everything that's happened, because I just want to move on. And I just want to keep trying to be a better person than I have in the past few years. I truly don't remember a time where I was more protective and decisive and so aligned with the best version of me than I am now. And it took a lot of work to get to this point. And I'm actively changing and trying to be better for my mistakes every day. I will be back in January, and I really appreciate anyone that has been so kind to me during this time. And I really appreciate anyone that, after seeing this video, is still sticking by my side and supporting me through everything. Like I said, a lot of new things coming in 2026. I'm really excited to share all of that with you. And just another reminder, please, please protect your peace, protect your boundaries, protect yourself, and learn to walk away when it's bad, because you don't want to end up in a situation like I was. I will see you all again very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.